Because we know people who should be successful, but what? They're not successful. Why?
So that's his why buy. But what is he afraid of?
My personal style of education, but still entertain them, bring them along with stories, right?
Who do we want to learn from? People who are what? Killing it. If you're a real man, what do you do? I'm not the only one.
You can't wait to tell your spouse. You can't wait to tell your colleague. You can't wait to go to work and tell somebody. And you're like, oh my God, I can't wait. So what happened?
If you haven't seen my TV show, you should get cable. That's what you need to do.
From doing a TV show to doing corporate events, I've been so lucky to connect with many passionate entrepreneurs worldwide.
What I've learned from a business perspective.
Because this is the formula for success, no matter who you talk to. Attitude will drive your behavior. Would you agree? And your behavior will drive your consequences every single time.
All right, we got the concept. Okay, we got the concept. We got the equipment, right? We got the brand. You guys got that. And then again, we got the content that we create. That's the easy part. This is the big one, the big C, which is the commitment.
What should you do? That's right. All right. 10Xers, do not fail me. True test. Here it comes.
There's skill, and then there's will. Listen to what I'm saying. There is skill, and then there is will. And here's the interesting thing. I know a lot of people who have a lot of skill, but have no what? Will, right? You ever look at somebody who's successful, and you say, why them, why not you? Yes, okay, that's me too.
You have more control, but your costs are also going to be what? Higher.
Now, here's where some of the magic is starting to kick in.
You can talk to any CEO in the B2B business, any CEO. You walk into his office and they only care about three things. People too. Yeah, he with the suit, put it up. There you go. I hope you can see this. I'll try to draw big. Let's pretend for a moment that I had 7 territories. You remember I wrote that out? Yes or no? Boom. Territory 2, territory 3, all the way to territory number what? 7. So now I've segmented my market.
So content is going to start being created by machines. And I'm telling you right now that those people, you guys, the content creators that connect with people are the ones that are going to win. Some people think, well, it won't work for my industry. Really? It'll work for any industry. Trust me. The majority of the time when we're looking to fix something, repair something, or learn something, where do we go? YouTube. We don't even want to read anymore. We go to YouTube. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong.
When you're doing your thing, beautiful things begin to happen. It's like the law of attraction kicks in. You know what I mean? It's almost like you're in line with the universe. Everything works. And when you do your thing, everybody gets an automatic MBA, which stands for what? Mega Bank Account Money. Are you with me? So we don't want to do a thing. We want to do a what? Beautiful.
All right, put it all together for Victor Antonio. Here we go.
All right, there we go. I'm not here to mess around. You ready to learn? Yes or no?
That's how it works in today's market. Whether it's B2B or B2C, you see the similar pattern. How do you just, in other words, say you got to start doing these things, pushing them, but also encouraging them. Oh, look at this. This is where it gets, dude, this is like so interactive with audiences, Matt. Can you imagine this with your customers? Check this out. Now, what does all this have to do with selling? It has everything to do with selling.
All right, man, that intro never gets old for me. How's everybody doing? Welcome to another Sales After Dark.
episode 95, man. So I'm super excited to be here. I think my head's being cut off right now. Hold on a sec. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. I need to expand my head. Hold on. We're going to zoom out just a little bit. Let's see. There you go. All right. Got to get it right. Sorry about that, folks. Anyway, does my head fit? Boom, my head fits. Love it. But anyway, thank you. Welcome to episode 95 on the road to 100. So, by the way, if you're watching this on a replay, fast forward a few minutes. I'm going to say hi to my friends here, and then we're going to jump into some content, and then I'll do some Q&A towards the end. Again, I got another great topic today, maybe a controversial topic. Ooh, how does that sound? Controversial topic. So I think this one, we're going to get some. You and I are going to go toe-to-toe on this one. I have a feeling you and I are going to go toe-to-toe on this one. We might not agree, but maybe we can find common ground, right? So anyway, let me check out who's online. Oh, my girl, West Coast, Mia Knox. Mia, always glad to see you here. Thank you. My man, Chris Stone. If you love the intro, then you love Chris Stone. He's putting that together for me. If you're listening to the Sales Influence podcast, by the way, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just type in Sales Influence podcast. Check out my podcast. Chris does the production for that and makes it look good. And if you're listening to the podcast yourself, he makes it sound good. So check that out. Also, Stan the Man says, hi, Mr. Antonio. Right back at you, Stan. Continue to be the man. My guy, Brian Gator Morrell says, the Sales After Dark. That's right. Number 95 on the way to 100, man. So all is good. We have Ajinka Mahajan. Let me know if I got that right, Ajinka. I don't think I've seen your name, man. So it's cool that you're here also, man. So thank you for joining us. We have Rogelio Jacinto. Hi, champion. Rogelio Jacinto from Salinas, California. Insurance business. Have a blessed day. Right back at you, man. Stay safe in Cast ahead. Yeah, Gators keeping count, man. We're getting to 100, man. Arvin, where have you been, my friend? Where have you been? I've missed your tough questions, man. So glad you're back, man. Thank you for joining us again. Sonu, what's happening? I'm doing good, man. Hope you're doing well as well. And we got Kush Patel. That's right, man. 95, man. Thank you for being here. Pete Primo, back at you. Man, how you doing, man? Always doing my thing, Pete. Always doing my thing. We have Elkin. Haven't seen you in a while, Elkin, either, man. So thank you for being around. I'm sure you guys out there closing deals, man. It's been a long time. I've been watching your sessions on replay. It all counts, man. So thank you, as always, as well, amigo. So thank you, man. Oh, my man. Kohai, where you been, brother? Didn't join you live, but almost 100. Super cool, man. We're getting there, man. We're getting there. Let me see. We got you guys saying hi to each other, which is cool. Garrett from Atlanta tuning in. Thank you for being here. I'm here in Alpharetta, man. DR Prabhu. Did I get that right? Let me see. I make sure I got it. DR Prabhu. Let me know if I got it right. Howdy. Right back at you. As we say here in Georgia, howdy, y'all. Okay, so we got David West. Check it in. If this is D. David West, I know it's got to be him, man. David, good to see you on here, man. Thank you for joining us. Duncan Joy Hamnet. Thank you for being here, Duncan. And my man, troublemaker himself, man. You and Arvin are my biggest pains in a good way, man. So, hey, Victor, all the peeps in the house, man. Thank you for being here. Hello to everyone. Happy Tuesday. All right, let's get into this. Stop messing around. Now, let me ask you a question. It's a question I need you to... So, and really think about this, Luke, because this is going to be tonight's topic. Should you put pricing on your website? Give me a 1 for a yes, or just type in yes, rather, or no. Should you put pricing on your website? Come on, let me hear from you. Should you put pricing on your website? Should you put pricing on your website? Controversial subject, but it's a good subject to talk about because I have my opinions. And I'm bringing proof to the table that my opinion is probably better than your opinion. I'm just joking, but let's have that conversation about pricing. So I think, and we got some people coming in. Juka says maybe. Juka, thank you for joining us, man. Juka says maybe. What do you guys got? Come on. I know there's more people than that on here, man. So I know there's, come on, vote your conscience, man. What do you think? Alfredo says yes. Man, my man Ovum says that your sales training is valuable, real meat to chew on. Thank you, Ovum, man. Appreciate you, man. So again, the question right now is, should you put pricing on your webpage? DR Prabhu says no. No, and by the way, he put that in capital letters, which means he means it. He's not playing. But then I don't know if it's Shy or Chi. Suarez says, yes, transparency. Oh, I love it. David apparently can't make up his mind. He's going with yes or no. He's covering both bets. Chicken. So you had to make a commitment. Rod's going to say, please enter your number to find out pricing. I love it. Rogelio says, let me see, man. Well, I got to put the glass. If you don't have enough value on the site, then add the prices. Oh, Prabhu's coming strong. Prabhu's saying, let me see. There's a good chance you'll scare the clients away. Oh, Prabhu, this stream is for you, man. I can tell already. This stream is for you. You might not have a chance to position a value. Ooh, this stream is so for you, Prabhu. You're gonna be glad you're here tonight, DR. You're gonna be glad you're here. Maybe. TJ's in the house. Bam, he says yes. Juka says, what? I meant last stream. The maybe. No to me. Oh, very cool. Okay. That's cool. I got you on the last stream. Hey, Pete, it's been a while. Shy from Chicago. Bro, right back at you, man. Chicago in the house. Always love it. Good morning from Stockholm. The answer is yes. Rightus Freimanis. Did I get that kind of right? Rightus Freimanis. I bet you that's it. Rightus Freimanis. That's a cool name. That's a strong name right there, man. I would close a lot more deals before they reach me. I was here on Sunday. Where were you? Okay, you guys are having a conversation. Let me see. Vladislav Vladimirov. Dude, that's a power. Vivi. Vladislav Vladimirov. Got it. Depends on what you're selling. Most times, yes, even if it's some base praising. Got it. All right, man. Well, I love your answers. Now, so I had this, years ago, I had this debate with other people. Thank you for the Rightus Freimanis. Got it. Perfect. Patrick, Timus, I agree. Okay. So years ago, I had this debate, as a speaker, coaching, workshops and all that. People were saying, Victor, DR, pay attention, DR. I'm talking, this was for you. It says, Victor, you don't want to put pricing on your website because you want the customer to reach out to you so you can engage them and then create value and then be able to build that value then against your pricing. That was the logic. And I remember there was a time I didn't put pricing on the website. Now, if you go to my website, you can actually download my whole brochure with pricing. If you don't believe me, go to victorantonio.com. You can download my pricing and brochure. So my answer is yes. So why is this topic coming up today? I'm reading this book. And I'm in about the first 5 or 6 chapters. Can't recommend it yet, but so far it's looking really good. Now there's a gentleman by the name of Marcus, and let me know if you know who this guy is. This guy is really good, by the way. He's first of all, great businessman, great speaker, great marketer. So Marcus Sheridan, and I actually shared the platform with him a couple of years back, and I met him. Cool guy. Again, great content, great presentation, great presence, the whole bit, the real deal, right? And so Marcus has a book. I want to make sure his book is titled You Ask, and I think it's I Answer. I think I got that right. That's the book I'm reading right now. You Ask, I Answer. And so I think it was chapter 3 or 4. He gets into this thing about how he basically became part of a pool business. It's in the book, the whole story, how he got into it. But he's now part of a pool business where he's one of 3 owners of a pool business. And again, like anything else, they were struggling, right? 2008, 2009, after the financial collapse, they were struggling. And so somewhere in there, he had a revelation. And the revelation was, I guess it wasn't a revelation. It built up over time. People kept calling him, and they were like, I hate to ask you, but, can you kind of give me an idea of how much it cost to put it in a pool, fiberglass pool? And he kept getting that question over and over again. And as he tells it in the book, if I recall correctly, is that, after 2 years of being irritated by that question, he had again, here's where the epiphany comes in. He says, you know what, why don't I just answer that question? And so he wrote a blog post / article, and it's called A Guide to Fiberglass Pool Cost, right? A Guide to Fiberglass Pool Cost, something like that. And he said he could track it with his analytics based on his website, that this article was actually drawing a lot of traffic because that's what people were looking like. How much does it cost to put in a fiberglass pool? And so he's getting all this traffic coming from, and people are looking at this article and reading it. The search engines are picking it up. They're ranking it high. I think he said within 48 hours, that article was ranked like #1. If you typed in, the cost of a fiberglass pool, it would rank on the first page, if not #1. And fast forward, he's attributed $6 million in additional sales over a period of, I think, 8 or 9 years based on this article. Because you realize what people are looking for they want information. And so what happened in his mind, he goes, I was getting people who were calling me who didn't have the money, weren't qualified. So what he said, let me create this article, give them the information they want, answer the questions they want. In other words, be a buyer. Instead of being a seller of pool, why don't I be a buyer of pool and ask myself, what are people asking? What do they want to know? You ask, I answer. That's the philosophy he built his business around. And the you ask, I answer is like every question that your customer probably has in their head that they want to ask, they want more information about. He was writing the information and putting it on the website, whether it's blog, frequently asked questions, or just articles, or even videos. He's putting this stuff on the website. And believe it or not, people were calling. And again, he can track the numbers. Just that one article, $6 million over an 8-9 year period. Amazing. And so he said, the majority of people don't want to put pricing on their website. He said the majority of people don't want to put pricing on their website. And he walks through the logic of what they're thinking. And when I read this, I was like, you know what? I want to talk about this at the Sales After Dark because I think you guys will benefit from it. And again, let me go through this and then I'll answer some questions. So the first thing he says, that the #1 reason people don't want to put pricing on the website, and again, in his mind, in his business, based on his experience, he's saying it's a mistake not to have pricing, or at least an explanation of cost. He said one reason people use for not putting price, he gave 3 reasons why people don't put price on their website. The first one is, again, this is what people say, every solution is going to be different. That's why we don't put pricing on the website, right? Come on, maybe you're maybe DR, that's what you're thinking, right? Well, Victor, it really depends. Every solution is different. Now think about what he's saying in this book. It's really fascinating because what he's saying is, of course, every solution is different. So what you need to do is write articles. In this case, his article was about, what are the cost drivers? In other words, what are things that drive costs up when building a pool? Think about your business. And then also, where are the cost savers? Where you can save money, right? And talk about that as well. So you can talk about these 2 things, but what you're doing is that you're treating your customer with respect. You're explaining them. In other words, he called it a guide to the cost of a fiberglass pool. What if you had, let's say, a SaaS solution, a CRM, a software solution, the cost of implementing a blank solution, a SaaS solution. And then in that article or a series of articles, you explain what are the differences. What are the differences in costs? And this is powerful because what he's saying is give the customers the information, because you know what they're going to do. If they go to your website and you don't have pricing, what do you think a lot of customers do? A lot of prospects rather do. They leave. These are people you never hear from. They never even bother because we've become very impatient. And when we're looking for something, we want to know, what does it cost? Just give me a cost. Again, they're looking for you to position yourself as being, somebody mentioned it already, very transparent, right? Be very open. And then have these discussions. Here are the cost drivers that'll drive a cost up, depending on what you want to do. But here's where you can save costs. Like, for example, one of my coaching clients who I had this discussion with a while back before I read the book I said, people want to know when they look at your website, had a gorgeous website, and he does a lot of kitchen remodeling and bathroom remodeling. And I remember I asked him, I said, well, what's a typical bathroom cost, to remodel? He goes, it depends. I go, yes, I know it depends, but can you give me a range? He goes, well, it varies. I go, I know it varies. Now, I'm frustrated just talking to him because all he had to do was say something like this. Victor, it depends, but I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a 100 square foot bathroom. And let's say you want to put in a vanity, shower, and let's say you just want to do a base model. Then your price is about this much. Now, you can add upgrades and If you upgrade everything, it'll be about this much. And all he had to do was provide me with a frame from low to high of pricing. But notice all he had to do was qualify by saying, let's say, for example, you have a 100 square foot bathroom. Again, I just qualified that, right? It's a 100 square foot bathroom. And then here's the low end, if you just put in the cheap stuff, or if you want the high end stuff, so anything in between. Then I can say to the customer, now, Mr. Customer, let's talk about what you have, what project you have, and then I'll be able to give you an idea, a range, depending on what your needs are. See, that's an honest conversation. So he's basically saying, in the book, Mark is sharing it, is that, and we do this also when we go to the website and it doesn't have the information we want, we just go somewhere else. I'm not going to sit here and fill out a form just to find out pricing or wanting to talk to somebody. Have you ever done that? Have you ever gone online and then let's say you want to get some information and then you're forced to kind of give them the information? Well, by the time they get back to you, in many cases, it's 24, 48 hours later, maybe 72 hours later, and you totally forgot the whole conversation, or you moved on, you changed your mind. So why not create this full transparency? Yes, every solution is different, but that should not prevent you from creating a scenario or scenarios. Like, for example, in the bathroom example, here's a 100 square foot bathroom, right? Now, if you move over to a 500 square foot bathroom and you're looking to do these things, here's another example, and here's kind of a framing of the pricing. Even if you have a software solution, well, here's the software solution if you only want to implement it and train 5 to 10 people. As you scale up and you have to do multiple locations, we typically frame the price that way. So that's one reason that people don't want to put pricing, and that is not a good reason. You can still do that and put pricing. The second one is, this one I love, and I read this one and I laughed. Victor, if we put pricing on our webpage, our competitors will know what we're pricing, and then they'll undercut us, right? That's usually a logic. And again, think about it. First of all, your competitors pretty much already know what you're bidding. If I wanted to find out what you're charging, trust me, I can find out. I've been in sales long enough where I can figure out what my competitor is charging. So the competitor already knows what you're charging. You may be thinking, well, Victor, but if they know, what they'll do is bid lower. Well, again, that's if they find their website. But keep in mind that when customers are going online searching for information and they come across your website and your website is fully transparent, you share cost, you sell savers, what are drivers of cost, so forth and so on. You explain the process, you walk them through. Isn't that what we want as consumers? Even if we pay a little more, we want to go with the company we trust. That's how we buy. We can always get something cheaper, but I'd rather work with somebody I trust that's very open and transparent about their process and how things work than somebody who forces me to make a call just to figure out pricing. So your competitors already know what you're pricing. Come on, let's be honest here. And by the way, products are almost all the same in the market. Very few companies have a very special product. Very few, right? But most of us have what I call the parity of products. In other words, product parity. Products are almost all the same. Services are all the same. It's the customer experience, the journey, going through that and contacting, going to your website, looking at your information. It's the experience I have with your website. Then if I do call you and I talk to you, it's that experience I have with talking to the expert on the phone. And it's how fast you get back to me. It's that whole process of the customer experience. That's what's selling today. It's not about price. We got to get away from this thing's price. Yeah, again, a small percentage of people will buy on price. 5, 10, maybe 15% will buy on price. Got it. But the majority of people want to deal with somebody they trust. And not putting pricing on your website because your competitor might see it is not a good reason not to share pricing. Again, you're making the buyer work harder. Number 3, Victor, this is the one I heard years ago. If I put pricing on my website, it will scare prospects away. I mean, Victor, if I put pricing, it's just going to scare people away. Really? I mean, let's think about this one, because this is what I had to get over. I go, what do you mean it's going to scare them away? I like to look at it this way. It's going to qualify people. Think about this. If they go on your website and you explain pricing, right? You give ranges of pricing depending on different scenarios. If they can't afford it, they're not going to contact you. If they can't afford it, they're not going to call you. But when you don't have pricing on the website, yeah, maybe you don't scare them away, but what happens is you get a lot of calls from people who simply can't afford your product or service. You've wasted their time and you've wasted your time, right? So it's a lose-lose situation. So again, don't be afraid of scaring people off. By the way, part 2 of this one, I've had to, Victor, I want to make sure that they call me. Let's just call that one number 4. This one is the one I've added. Number 4 said, Victor, I don't put pricing on my website because I want them to call me so I can build value, right? I added that one because I've heard that one before. Victor, I don't want to give them my number. I need them to call me so I can talk to them, and then I can show them what we do, how we do it, how we're different, create that value, then boom, drop the price on them, right? The problem is because there's no pricing on the website, what do you think people do? They just go somewhere else, where whoever has pricing. So again, even if they called you and you quote unquote created value, again, they may not be able to afford your product. And think about it today. Let's kind of really think about this. You can go on Google right now, right? And you can type in, let me see, cost of doing X, cost of implementing X or Y. And guess what? You're going to find pricing and you're going to find the pricing range. But again, I think what Marcus Sheridan is really trying to highlight in the book is that if we want to be successful with people, we want to really attract new buyers. By new buyers, I mean the way people buy today is they go online, they're looking for information. And they're looking for sources of credible information. So what if you took a list, and I've talked about this in the past, what if you took a list of all the questions your customers have, a list of all the questions your customers possibly have about your product or service, and then answer those questions. This is, again, the same thing Marcus Sheridan is saying. I've been saying it for years. Answer their questions. Give them the content they need. Let them choose whether they want to reach out to you or not. So why not create these lists of questions and then just start answering these questions? By the way, there's a bonus here. Because if you think about it, if you create this list, right? And let's say you come up with, if we did a brainstorming session, maybe we'll come up with, 50, maybe 75 questions that people typically ask, right? 50 to 75 questions your customers typically ask. What if you take these 50 to 75 questions and then for each one, you can create a small article on your webpage that addresses that one question, really explains it, really positions it with full transparency. Double benefit. One, great content for your website. Second is the search engines will pick up on that article and maybe people start what? Viewing that article, which drives more traffic to your site, which will hopefully drive more people to make a phone call after reading that because you've built the trust. By the way, that article, you can take that article or you can make it a blog, right? Or you can turn it into audio, right? Create a little podcast around it, or you can make it a small short video on your website because some people just don't want to read, they just want rather look at the video. So this is all content that you put on your website, questions that people are looking for. You create content around those questions, and what you're doing is you're giving the search engine spiders some food. By that I mean is that the search engines will pick up on all these articles, these blogs, these videos, these podcasts, will rank them high. And so when people are searching for these things online, guess what? They may find your article, your blog, your video, your podcast, and it drives more traffic to your site, which will hopefully increase your conversion rate when they do call you. So the answer for tonight is, should you put pricing on your website? I'm going to say big yes. Now, there may be an occasion, an instant, an example where you're not able to do that. I can't think of one offhand, but maybe there's an exception. So maybe 1-2% of the population, business population, probably can't put pricing on their website. But the majority of us who sell basic products and services, there's no reason we can't put our pricing on the website. And that is it for this Sales After Dark episode. So now I'll take some questions. Let me know. This ought to be interesting. Like I said, we're going to go back and forth. And let me see. We got. Oh, I knew this was going to create a debate. Love it. Let me see. I mean, it depends. Okay, I'm going to start right here.
I'm going to start with Duncan right here. Duncan said, it's tricky because competitors can see it and then undercut your price. I do a mix in our website. Some items have a price and others don't. And again, Duncan, I'm going to go back to look, if people are looking for the cheapest price, then maybe those aren't the customers you want. And so again, I wouldn't worry about that. You got to ask yourself the question, how many customers are you losing because there's no pricing or pricing information on your website or explanation of pricing? Notice I'm using the phrase explanation of pricing to kind of really frame the conversation, because you can say things like this. For example, let's go back to my friend who had the kitchen remodeling and bathroom remodeling. You know, he would always say to me, so Victor, the problem is that there's other contractors out there who use cheaper materials or cut corners. That's what he said. They use cheaper materials or cut corners. To which I said, well, that's why you explain. You could come up with an article, right? Because never go for the cheapest bid. Here's why. And then you could explain that. Maybe they don't have insurance. They always cut corners. Whatever it may be, they use cheap material. And again, your job is to educate the customer when they come to your website. So if you have an article that really explains why you don't want to go, be careful, beware of cheaper bids. I mean, that would grab my attention. Beware of cheaper bids when building your bathroom. That would catch my attention. And then you would describe that. And again, you may be missing, in this case, Duncan, you may be missing business because people are going to your website, not getting the information they want, and just going somewhere else to get it. So just a warning. I blow away everyone marketing, but I have a challenge closing. Okay, so on that one, yeah, I get you, man. You're getting the people there. You just got to lock them down. I got you. Internet problems, huh? That's why I felt forever with SAD. Now I'm back. Okay, internet problems over there. Master VA missed, let me see what you got here. My greetings, good day, man. I missed 1 week without you. Feels like forever, man. Thank you, man. I took a week off so that you were all good. The book is They Ask, You Answer. Sorry about that. Thank you for that, for correction. What if my pools are much more expensive than my competitors? Dimitri Livas, my man. By the way, that's okay. Again, I've had this question many times, Demetrius. What if my products are more expensive? Like, now, let's define expensive. If you're like 50, 60% over your competitors, then you have to ask yourself, what am I doing wrong that my pricings are so high? So that's the other thing we have to ask ourselves. If my pricing is so out of line with the market, what am I doing that they're not doing? Now, let's take both sides of the argument. Let's say that they're cutting corners. Well, that's a good time for us to begin to write articles. Again, inform the client about these cutting of corners, right? And if our pricing are out of line because we don't have our cost structure together, well, that means we have to get our cost structure together. I work with a lot of pool companies, and I'm telling you right now, the market's just crazy for pools. Right now, I think they're backlogged all the way to like June and July here in the United States, Dimitris. So it's like they're charging premium. Their biggest challenge is that they have to lock in material pricing today for something they're going to use in 6 months. And that's a hat trick right there, right? Because now there's where you could argue with me, and I would kind of pull back a little bit, says, the cost of materials, if it's a long sales cycle, you could sign a contract today, but you don't install it till next July, I got to figure out how I'm going to charge for that. On that, you would have a great point. That's why I said there's probably 1 or 2% where you can't do it. And maybe that's one of those. So great question, man. Good to hear from you again, by the way. Victor, price can qualify out poor prospects, but answering with the number doesn't include reduction of the process. I don't know what that is. So there's no value attached to the number. They're uneducated and only see $1. That's correct. I'm not going to disagree with you, GD. If they don't, see, that's what I'm saying. Part of our job is to really, and I think this is the paradigm shift here. We think marketing is about just attracting people to our website. That's our mindset. We attract people to our website. And I get that. And if we're attracting, sip of water. And I know we want to attract people to our website, but once they're at our website, GD, what do we want to do? And I'm going to argue with you that we want to educate them. It's too easy to say they're poor, they're uneducated, they don't really understand. That's why they need to call me. I get that, but I don't think that's a real excuse. I think we need to educate them as far as what the process is. And so when you're looking at kitchen remodeling, software installation, they want an explanation. They want to understand. And when they see something and they understand that you've done this, you've gone to a website, they've explained everything, you feel comfortable with the explanations, and then you want to go to the next step, which is get a call. So I would say yes, they don't know. But part of our job in marketing is not only to attract, it's also to educate. So you got a part B. Let me see what part B is. Man, GD, you are writing a lot today. You can't compete on price when you're about quality more than about price. People don't buy BMW for price like Hyundai. They buy BMW for quality. How do we turn the price-based conversation into quality? So, okay, so let's, by the way, I would slightly argue with you just a little bit. I think we're almost like a line. People buy a BMW for quality, obviously, but they also buy it for prestige. Come on, we got to throw that in there. Because, if you look at you can buy a Honda, you can buy a Toyota today. And those are quality cars. Come on, let's be honest here. These cars last. I mean, I got a Honda that's like 213,000 miles, right? Drive a Volvo that's also on over 200,000 miles. Yes, I hold on to cars. And so that's quality. That's not prestige. The thing is, it's marketing, who you're marketing to. So if you're marketing to people who want prestige, then that's what you should market. Because yeah, they care about the quality, but it's all about, I want a BMW, I want a Lexus, I want a Mercedes, I want a Maserati or Ferrari. So there's prestige in there. So if I am looking for a car like a Hyundai, trust me, I'm not looking for prestige. I'm looking for quality, right? And I'm going to go with a car that I get the biggest bang for the buck. That person is not my customer if I'm selling luxury cars. So I say change our marketing to find luxury buyers. I don't want to try to convince somebody who's thinking Hyundai to buy a BMW. That's just too much of a gap into selling. It's like if some person is just looking to do something very simple like, change their floor and put in tile, I'm not going to try to convince that person to basically remodel everything. It's too hard of a bridge. So I have to work on my marketing to get the right people. That's how I would answer that question. We could have a longer discussion on that. Because BMW can't compete with Hyundai based on price. Of course they can't. Education value has to change in the buying process or a better prospect has to be selected. Oh, there you go. You answered your own question. You're absolutely right. We do agree. And so that's where marketing has to get to different prospect. The education piece is good, but I still think it's a big gap, right? If you're thinking Hyundai, and versus BMW, come on, that's a pricing conversation. I realize I don't want to spend that much on a car, so we can't have that conversation. So you're absolutely right, GD. I think we agree, man. We agree. All right, price won't matter if the reviews, feedback is good. And that's another thing. When people are looking at Yelp and all these feedback and reviews, I'm telling you, that drives, and all of a sudden price doesn't matter. I was telling Chris Stone, the guy who does the production for the website, for the videos and the podcast, that I bought a stand for my laptop, one of those laptop stands that you can just kind of expand and make your laptop be higher, right? And the first thing I did was I looked at how many reviews they had, because that's how we search, right? How many reviews and the average rating of the reviews. And I found one that had like 1,900 plus reviews on Amazon and almost 4.5-star rating. Now, there was another product very similar that had basically half the price, maybe almost a third the price. I mean, it was really low, like $24 versus $72. $24 versus $72, right? And I said to myself, but I looked at the ratings and a lot of them were like around the 3-star range. And I go, no, I'm going to pay more. Now, I don't want to pay $72. I'd rather pay the $24. But based on the reviews, I'm going to pay a little more. So TJ, you're absolutely right. That does influence. G-Fallen. But sometimes you want to tell the customers that are scared about the service before they are scared. But the thing is, if they're scared, they're not going to contact you, right? So if they go to your website, they're looking at your information, because how do we look for information? How do we look for resources, for contacts? We go online. It's almost like we have to look at our own shopping. And if I contact somebody, and first of all, if I'm already scared, that's a problem. But you say, but sometimes you want to tell the customers that are scared about the service before they are scared. I think what you mean to say, if I understand that, is that you want to have that conversation with them. But remember, a lot of people are going online, and what they're doing is reading a lot, right? Or watching videos, right? If it's a how-to, right? Like imagine doing a how-to video on your, let's say, remodeling of a bathroom. And I could just say, look, Here I am in da-da-da bathroom. And again, everything I said earlier, right? It's 100 square foot, da-da-da. Now, here's something. When you got to talk about price, here's what you should look at. If you want to keep your price low, you can use this material to keep your prices low. But if you want to spend a little more, like in the $50,000 range, then you use this. So you can do something for $15,000 all the way up to $50,000. For more information, go to our website. We really walk you through the process. And again, what you're doing is you're educating them. So again, I'm going to keep repeating this. Instead of just marketing to them to attract them, once we get them, we have to educate them, or at least help them understand the value. Because we typically want to read something, see something, or hear something before we reach out to a company. Again, sometimes all we got to do is remind ourselves, how do we buy? And maybe that's how we should sell or market more effectively. So I love that. VA, this is Money. Great freaking job on analyzing buyer profiles. Craig Isaac, thank you very much. Good to see you again, man. Thank you. Boozy Bridge. Oh, that's so cool. What's the time frame credit repair with the loan program? What's the time frame for a credit repair with a loan program? I don't know, Boozy. That's one that's out of my bailiwick right now. I don't know what the latest is on that. Arthur. Huckup. Arthur, IBM AI Robotics Department Manager, man. Oh, I love AI, man. Have you already bought cryptocurrency, invest your money? Well, invest in cryptocurrency. Don't miss the chance to be a billionaire. There you go. Great marketing. Be a billionaire. In fact, that looks like his authentic picture. Not. Okay, moving on. So anyway, Cheryl, always great start with the day. Thank you, Cheryl, very much. Appreciate you. Dimitri Livas, you already answered the question. You already answered mine. You're awesome, man. Rod, I knew you were coming in somewhere. Love this, Victor. What's your opinion on listing slightly higher pricing, knowing that the customers calling in will try to knock them down either way? I see what you're saying. In other words, Victor, should I include a fudge factor? That's what you're asking me. Victor, should I include a fudge factor in my pricing? Here's the problem with the fudge factor. Is that, I guess you have to do it for everybody, right? And so you can include a fudge factor, but that might be the fudge factor that puts you too far out of the band of what's reasonable. So remember, using a fudge factor, you're not going to like this answer, Rod. You could probably get mad at me, but I said, when people tell me about using fudge factors, that tells me they don't know how to negotiate pricing. Think about that. Because if you know how to negotiate pricing and you believe in the value of what you're selling, there's no need for fudge factors. The price is the price, that's the price. Let me explain why that price is the price and why it's a competitive price, and here's what we offer. So I think if you know how to negotiate and you believe in the value, you don't need to do fudge factors, man. So that would be my answer to that one. Let me know what you think, Rod. John Frisbee, man. What about when you do in-home sales? Presentation builds the value along with the customer experience, especially home improvement industry. I agree. Roofing specifically. I'm with you. Seems like a race to the bottom if we all post price without building value. John, I'm with you, man. I'm with you on this one. But just hear me out. Just hear me out, John, before you judge me too harshly on this one. Much like the pool business, much like I work with roofing companies, I work with window companies, and I get it, pest control companies, so forth and so on. I'm not saying that you put pricing. What I am saying, because it's hard to put price. Like, I don't know, like, you know, the pitch of the roof, the type of material they're going to use, so forth and so on. So there's no way, if you're in the roofing business, that you can really do the pricing justice, right? So I am with you. I am agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you. So let me be clear here. What I am saying is, can you educate your customers in terms of explaining why certain roofs might be more expensive than others? Can you explain to them why using different type of tiling, shingles, may also be a cost factor? Can you also explain to them, I said, look, if you're looking for it to be in your house for only 2 to 3 years, these are some of the considerations you should right? If this is a long-term play, you're not thinking of moving, and you really want to build value into the house, then maybe you should consider, you know, we're going to want to add ridge vents, you want to add, you know, whatever it may be, right? And so there's things that you can educate the customer on, guiding them, I'm saying. John, that's all I'm saying. I'm saying guiding them. Much like we talked about earlier on with the pool. It's you give them a frame, just like the bathrooms, you give them a framing of price. So for example, if you have a 1,000 square foot house, which means the roof isn't going to be that big. And so here's some cost consideration, Mr. Customer. If it's a flat roof, right? You explain here's a flat roof, here's a pitch roof, here's a high pitch roof, and you're looking at cost with typical shingles. If it's really cheap, your basic shingles, nothing fancy. Here's the low end. I said, but if you're looking at doing something like this, here might be the high end, right? And we've seen on the website different calculators that people can use. But again, all I'm saying is that we could have calculators on the website to give them an idea. But also, can we educate them, again, on what are the cost drivers and what are the cost savers of going with a roof? Now, when we get back to face, you're absolutely correct. When you're going through the house, you're doing the walkthrough, or in this case, you're doing the walk around if it's the roof. Man, you're having those conversations. How do I know? We just put in our roof about 1.5 years ago, and we had those conversations. The gentleman was walking us around the house, and he was explaining things, and he was giving us, okay, here's what you need. Here's what's going to drive your cost up. Here's where you can save money. And he would say things like, you don't want to do this. You want to do this here, but here's where you're going to have to do this. And so those are great conversations to have there. But I'm just talking about trying to get there. We want people to actually pick up the phone and call us, John. And I am saying, all I'm proposing is that we educate them on our websites with different articles on considerations of, again, cost drivers and then cost savers, and give them some framing of pricing, and then motivate them enough by building transparency to call us. And maybe we'll get a few more people calling us. And that's what Marcus Sheridan was talking in the book, that when it comes to building a fiberglass pool, I mean, what do you want? Above ground? Below ground? What type of material? What's the size? What's the depth? What's the width? So many different considerations, but yet what he did in the article was clarify the different considerations for pricing, and that's all I'm saying, while still giving ranges of what they should consider. That's all I'm saying. So I think we're on the same page. Let me know if we're on the same page. Thank you, Victor. Sales After Dark, Sales Velocity Academy. By the way, if you haven't checked out the Sales Velocity Academy, check it out, Sales Velocity Academy. And by the way, see that thing right here? Subscribe. Again, you'll get the notification if you subscribe when I go live. But check out the Sales Velocity Academy. Over 50 courses, 500 videos. Got some cool stuff coming. First month of next year. Got some great courses. Just check it out. But let me get the next one. Thank you, by the way, Peter. And also, how would you incentivize potential customers calling in, emailing, even if the price is on a higher end? How would you incentivize potential customers calling in, emailing, even if the price is on the higher side? Again, what we're trying to do, it's all about putting together a sales process / sales funnel. If my goal is to drive traffic through my marketing to get people to my site, that's part of getting people in the top of the funnel. Part 2 is once they're on the website, now what's my strategy? Buyer engagement / buyer education. So that's what I'm saying. That's where we populate it with content. We take all the questions they probably have and let's really answer those questions. And what I'm hoping is that through those questions being answered, they feel comfortable enough to pick the phone and call you. And when they call you, they have an idea of what it costs. They feel you don't need to incentivize them. They're going to trust you because they love the content on your website. I'm saying, how do we build authenticity through education to get people to pick up the phone who can afford our product and trust us? That's the goal here. So I don't know about incentivizing, but yeah, I don't know about that one. Thanks, Victor. On that tip, I'm also into construction. Was just wondering, how would I price that? Because most of our work, we price on how the land is or the area is, but you gave me a great idea. So again, Leon, you might be right. That's why I reserved that 1 or 2% for you can't do it. But there's nothing wrong with educating people that come to your website about land appraisal, for example. The preparation of a construction site. What does that take? And by the way, not just talk about how much things cost, but also time frame. How long is that? What needs to be done? What contracts needs to be put in place? What permits need to be pulled? So forth and so on. I'm talking about educating people about what the process is, and if we can kind of highlight price for them and give them ranges, if it's possible, then do that. But it's more or less about the process and the price put together. So thank you for highlighting that. I don't know if I answered your question. Again, let me know. A couple more, then I am out of here. Andre G. I had the idea to create a list of short videos on our website to explain every step of the way, but now I'm wrestling with the thought is it a good idea to reveal our trade secrets to our competitors? They know it. Andre, they know it. There are no trade secrets. I mean, unless you have some secret sauce, they know it, right? And I think this paranoia we have about, I don't want to show them because they're going to find out. My competitors are going to look at my website and then they're going to start using it. Remember, at the end of the day, they still have to compete in the marketplace. So somebody can copy or try to copy what you do, but they can't do it your way. And you want to create a strategy that attracts people to you because, one, they like what they see on your website. They love your video. So you and I, look, you can give me the script for your video or the idea for what your content is, or I can steal it from you, right? Andre, I can steal your content. I find out, I go there, I watch your website, and I watch your video. I can try to duplicate that, but more likely, I probably won't be able to do it just like you. So there's differentiation in how we deliver the message as well. Like I can get out, like right now, I can argue that. Why would I want to do sales after dark for free, right? Because my competitors, other sales trainers, will take this material, copy it, and use it as their own. You know, that's one mindset, right? But I don't care because people buy me, right? And the way I deliver the content and the way I do business with people, and that's what people love. That's your differentiator. All products are almost the same. All services are all the same. So, and again, when you create videos, a series of videos, again, your competitor has to keep up. Years ago, I was told, you know, Victor, why do you post so many videos on YouTube? I think I have over 1,200 videos, like 1,200 videos, something like that. Go check out the website on YouTube. And people were saying, why do you give your trade secrets away? And I'm like, well, because everybody knows them. People who know how to use them will use them. And if people want to copy my material, they're going to copy my material. And I get that. And by the way, people have copied my material. But if I have this viewpoint of paranoia that people are going to copy, you know, I'm not going to do anything. It's what you're thinking of doing now, which is nothing, right? Because you think they're going to copy. So what? Let them copy. You're just going to do it better. And what if you put it out there, right? Even if they do copy, what if you still pick up, you know, 1 or 2 extra customers a month? Even if they're copying it, you still pick up an extra 1 or 2 a month. That's a benefit. So get out of your head on that one. You know what I mean, Andre? Just get out of your head. Agree. Pete, thank you so much. You guys are cool. Glenn, I'm here watching this. DR, thank you for being here. Patrick, what do you got, man? Utility, construction, engineering. Ooh, tough one, brother. I know where you're going with this one. I'm upfront with my average fees and then negotiate to meet the client's budget if possible. Sometimes it doesn't work, but you have to set your limits. It's about building relationships and masking and making a profit at the same time. Amen. Can I just go, amen. You know, in fact, if I got my applause button working, I think, mic drop, Patrick, you're awesome. Because it's just having frank conversations. If you think about it, Patrick, I'm telling you what you already know. What you're basically telling me indirectly is that, you know, people want a frank discussion. They want an honest, transparent discussion. That's all we want. As consumers, as buyers, that's all we want. So why do we think as sellers that's any different? That's what customers want. So I love what you just said. Look, there's places I can cut, there's places I can't. That's the reality. And you'll be amazed how that frankness is just so much, it's such a better way of selling than trying to figure out, as my man Rod, not to pick out Rod, like adding fudge factors and negotiating. I don't want to do all that. That's too much machination, too much stuff to worry about. I think straight down the middle, educate them as best possible, empathize with them, and then at the end, let them make the buying decision. So man, I love it, man. We ask, Victor answers, we learn. Thank you. All right, you're awesome, man. So I'm going to leave it on that. And again, the book, Gators just reminded me here, is by Marcus Sheridan. And again, so far, like I said, I'm in chapter 5 or 6, and so far it's a great read. I met the guy, like I said, shared the stage with him a couple of, it's a good guy. And what I love about his story and his speaking is that it's coming from him building a business and then talking about what he did, right? As opposed to somebody who didn't have that, what I call that bootstrapping experience. So love that. And on that note, let me give you some final thoughts here. Anyway, so final thoughts for the evening are as follows. Don't be afraid. If you don't want to put pricing, then I can't fight you on that one. I think you should at least put ranges of pricing. And if you can't put ranges of prices, right, because it depends, then at least give customers the information, educate them on what they can do. By the way, before I forget, hit the subscribe button right there, and that's the like button. If you dig this, hit the like button. And also, if you can share it with at least one person, just this one, that's all I ask in return. So don't be afraid to share, again, pricing where you can, where it's possible to do so. And again, there's nothing wrong with framing the pricing. Like I said, okay, if you have this, 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 and you only wanted to do this, you're looking at this. But if you really wanted to do this, this is what you could do. But then educate them. Here's what you should look out for. And by the way, you can have an article in there about, beware of competitors who price too low. And then you can talk about what happens and maybe even provide some social proof, right? Some examples, some references that they can use and go to. And what you're doing is you're helping people make a buying decision. The struggle today that people are having, we're having as buyers, is that we're so overwhelmed by information. And a lot of that information is just noise. Just noise. And if we can give people information on how things work, what they should look out for, in other words, educate them, they're going to view us as a trusted resource, and that is going to get them to come to us. And Pete's saying, thank you, Sales Velocity. Thank you again, Pete. And again, I'll be back on Thursday. We'll have another topic. Let me know what you think of this topic, and give me some feedback. Like I said, once in a while I read the comments. I definitely read the chat after the fact. And again, I want to thank you. This is Victor Antonio, Sales After Dark, always reminding you, selling ain't hard when you know